Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have an interesting topic. Developers are refusing now to work without AI because it's makes it so much easier to code. But there's some new data out that says actually a lot of your tokens that they're spending on development are going to debugging the software. So um, it is buggy. If you've ever made something before, you know that sometimes a lot of times things don't work right away, and it has to go back and solve the problem, especially those of us who are pure vibe coders who don't have any coding experience. But this is a valid point about the debugging and the token cost. We're going to get into all the economics today. But before we do, Jaden, why don't you tell them about our school community?
Yeah, every single week we record a bonus video over on our school community. This week is actually really cool because Jamie got access to ChatGPT's ads. So, like putting ads inside of ChatGPT, and he has run some ads in there. He has some results and some analytics for his business that he's showing. He shows you how much it costs, how to get it set up, how to do the targeting, what the inside of the platform looks like. If you are doing any sort of business online and this is something that's interesting to you, you're gonna want to check this video out. It is absolutely fascinating how ChatGPT is running their ad program. And also there is like almost 100 other videos or maybe like 50 other videos in there breaking down all of the tools, tricks, strategies, numbers, all the inside stuff we don't share anywhere else. So go check out the AI Hustle School community. It's only $19 a month. We have 300 members in there. It is a good time, let me tell you. So yeah, go check it out. Link is in the description. Okay, let's talk about what's going on. I am very fired up about this topic in particular. So GitHub Copilot, they used to have subsidized billing, basically, like what Claude has. So you could pay a flat rate of $29 to $50 a month. And they're saying on June 1st, which is today, that is switching. So no longer will you be able to get those flat rates. Now you're going to have to pay with the API. Now, why are they doing that? Because they're losing a ton of money on this. But it's Microsoft, so like, shouldn't they try to lose money to get developers? That's the question you're asking. And the answer is evidently not. They don't want to take the hit anymore, because for what you used to be able to pay $30 a month to $50 a month for, developers are now, if they're paying just the raw API, they're paying $750 to $3,000 a month. Guys, I am so fired up about this. Jamie's laughing at me, but I have been telling everybody about this to the point where I made a satirical post about this on LinkedIn that got me on the front page of Reddit's LinkedIn Lunatics, which in my post, I was joking, but I said I got a second laptop to run a second Claude Max subscription. And everyone's like, whoa, why don't you use a virtual machine? Which is probably maybe a good point or something. The reality of this situation is you don't need a second laptop to get a second Claude Max subscription. You can just log out of one and log into another, which, to trigger many people, is actually what I did yesterday for the first time ever. I essentially have two Claude Max subscriptions.
So you're now running two Claude subscriptions, which is pretty intense. I recently just started my first Claude Max subscription. What types of tasks are you doing that are taking so many tokens, if I may ask?
Yeah, so to be fair, it's not something that I plan on doing long term. I'm just doing it for 1 month because I have a bunch of tasks that just burnt through my tokens super fast, and I don't, and like, it's like basically I'm blocked out till Wednesday. So I'm blocked out for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, end of Wednesday. And I'm like, okay, if I could burn through all my tokens in 4 days, I'm just going to get another account. And for this month, I'll tag team back and forth. The big projects that I've been working on is, I've probably talked about this before on the podcast, but I have a Bible study app that I'm writing. It is, I'm making these really in-depth 20-minute long Bible study guides for every single chapter in the Bible. There are somewhere between 1,000 and 1,300 chapters in the Bible. And I'm like adding some of like the Apocrypha. I'm not Catholic, but Catholics have the Apocrypha in their Bible, so I'm trying to make it for them too. Shout out to all you Catholics. My Bible app loves you. And so anyways, there is a lot of chapters in this, and there's really in-depth study guides. And in addition to that, the study guides, I'm like, I don't want it to just be like general AI kind of generated stuff. So I'm like, hey, go do some like deep research on every single topic. Go add like resources and links to archaeological evidence for all of this stuff. Go find open source images. I had to scrape, like the Met has like an API where you can embed all of the famous art from, people for the last 1,000, 2,000 years that have painted of stuff in the Bible, in cathedrals and stuff. It's all kind of like open source, publicly available. But I grabbed all of those kind of libraries, and I'm embedding images from, if someone like painted John the Baptist, it's getting embedded into the Bible study with John the Baptist in it. So anyways, it is a massive gnarly project. There's over 7,500 images that I've sourced and indexed. There is 1,200 chapters that I've written. I've written adult chapters. I've written children's study guides, so like you can read it for your kids. Anyways, it is a massive project. It's my Sunday project. I work on it after church on Sunday. So it is, but it's a massive project and it absolutely crunches tokens because of how intense it is. So I have like 100 other projects going on at the same time, but that one pushes it over the edge every time. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just getting all the content finished up this month for it. I'm just going to get 2 subscriptions because otherwise that was burning through all my tokens and I was getting locked out till Wednesday. In addition, my wife rebuilt our first app we ever made, which is called Self Pause, from scratch in the last 2 weeks. That used up a ton of tokens, but she rebuilt the whole thing from scratch. It's incredible. She's published it. We're waiting for it to get approved. I'll probably tell you more about it when that happens, but we have a lot of projects going on. It's also me and my wife and my studio manager in Arizona. We were all using the same account. It wasn't enough. So is it really me using all the tokens? No, it's like 3 people. So it was worth splitting it and getting a second account at this point.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, one thing that people are frustrated with when it comes to all the usage tokens and things like that is the fact that AI, or that Claude, I should say, even Claude Code, does make mistakes. Like sometimes there'll be a bug or an error, or in my case, something I'm building right now. I realized, so I'm basically having, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm having Claude scrape local businesses, and then I'm pulling a few API tokens from other places to enrich the data, basically get contact and email information for different business owners in the area. And then I'm going to do an email automation to them that's personalized. Anyways, one of the things I was going to send in that personalized email was a audit to show them where they currently rank when it comes to ChatGPT search or Gemini search, if they show up in AI search results or not.
Mm.
Come to find out that the token usage for those APIs and pulling all that data for each automated email is like a crazy amount. So it's like 10 times more expensive than just pulling their name and email and reaching out with a custom message. So doing those extra things, I didn't realize as a vibe coder would cost me so much. And so that was a little frustrating, but to get to that point, I also had to spend a lot of tokens back and forth with Claude. So, I don't know. I think for someone like me who's not a huge coder, it still comes as a value. But if you maybe are deeper in the space, you know exactly what you want. That I think the mistakes would be maybe frustrating to have to pay for to fix them.
Yep. I agree with you there. So that brings me to another interesting thing, which is what you started the episode off with it, which is the article, which is developers are refusing right now to work without AI. And so there's some new data allegedly that is questioning the productivity gains of AI. Okay, I don't know what galaxy people are on where they're questioning the productivity gains of AI. Actually, I do know what galaxy. Basically, it comes from the CFO of like Spotify or like some big company, I can't remember, but anyways, there's this thing where they're like, yeah, like our revenue hasn't really gone up that much since we started using AI, so I don't know if it's like really justifiable. Okay, that's like where a lot of this happens. But other than that, the productivity gains, are you kidding me? I just rebuilt an entire app from scratch that used to have bugs and published it, and it makes me real money every month. So that's going to be a big bump. I've been able to launch tons of platforms. I've been able to run like all of my businesses. I've made meaningful revenue from, I have an entire podcast network of sleep history podcasts that I was able to build a tool that can automatically run that. I'm making money every single month from that now. I should do probably a school community episode on that. But anyways, there's 1,000 things that I'm doing right now, and all of them are making either my businesses. Oh my gosh, Jamie rebuilt with Search Saddle my entire business for my podcast studio, az.com. I have a podcast studio, just a local brick and mortar or whatever. That business, I am not joking, has tripled its revenue at least since Jamie rebuilt the entire website using he used Lovable for the design, but it's actually just self-hosted. But since we used AI to rebuild it, it used to be on WordPress. It wasn't. I'm pretty good at WordPress. I've done it for almost 10 years now. It was like an okay website, but it wasn't like premium. Jamie rebuilt it with AI, so it looked incredible and premium. And I am not joking. We're working with like we have like NerdWallet recording at our studio now. We have like
Sweet.
massive organizations, huge companies that never worked with us before, paying, they'll rent the whole thing out for the whole day. They don't really like money that isn't really what they're concerned about. I promise you, none of those people were booking when our website was just mediocre. As soon as we completely redid it, so I'm seeing revenue on every business basically grow, improve. New things I was never able to do get fixed. Features I was never able to create. Oh, I mean, okay, I'll stop rambling in like a second. But something else I'm really stoked about is for Self Pause. That was my very first positive affirmation meditation app. We grew it to 150,000 users. My wife and I started that. We always had the problem that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on development, and we always had the problem that it was like basically the developers had a bandwidth issue and it was a price issue. We just couldn't put all the features in. There was bugs a lot of times that we couldn't get fixed. It was just an expensive business. And now that AI is really cheap, we've been able to completely revamp it. We'll probably do a relaunch once it's rebuilt. And you'll hear me plugging it on the podcast more. But something really cool I just did with it in the last 3 days is we built the iOS app. And so I just went to Claude and was like, hey, build a web app. So like if someone goes to selfpause.com, its website, they get all of the features of the app, like all of the self-recorded affirmations, like the meditations, like the soundscape, like all the features. We never had that before. And so anyways, businesses are upgraded. I am so triggered by the data questions the productivity gains line, but otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about what you could do with AI right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pushback overall is just coming from the back and forth of, okay, are these layoffs from these big corporations, is that due to AI and coding, or is that the overall economy? People are just worried about that. And so I think it is important that everyone's trying to actually figure out the true value of AI here. But like you said, even at 2 Claude Max subscriptions, you're able to make so much more money and do so much more. I mean, before you had all these virtual assistants and all this slowness to develop and to grow, where now it's so fast, streamlined, better, cheaper. So like, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't really see the even if Claude Max went up and doubled, in the short term, I think it still is well worth it. So but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the price ends up staying long term. So I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I think that Claude and everyone else is going to have to actually raise their prices at some point. I think they're just trying to absolutely absorb as much of the market as they can. They're making a lot of money. So I think that's probably where Anthropic is at. However, I'm just going to try to get as much code and as much stuff built and done like as soon as possible. That's why I'm like not like, oh, I'll just wait till my rate limit runs out on Wednesday. I'm like, nope, buying another Claude Max subscription. I'm just trying to get all my projects pushed through. I don't know when their IPO happens. I don't know if that means they're going to be more serious about trying to generate revenue, because right now Claude is subsidizing, potentially, according to my math that triggered a lot of people, potentially $11,000 a month if you're fully using your Claude Max tokens. That comes
Wow.
from, it used to be like half of that, but then they said they doubled your usage limits when they signed the SpaceX Colossus One data center contract. It's really hard though, because they don't always tell you exactly like how many tokens you're getting. But from my experiment, so basically when I first ran into this problem where I ran out for a day of my tokens, and they were like, okay, you're like, you're locked out for a day. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just buy some tokens, because you can just pay the API directly. I paid $200 and I used that in one day. So I'm like, okay, $200 a day times 30 days a month times they just doubled the rate limits. That probably gets me somewhere around 11 grand. Don't double
Wow.
check my math, but I think it's something like that.
Crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, speed really is a factor right now, and I think anyone who is aware of the capabilities of AI is trying to build as much as they can. So if you guys are building, we'd love to have you again be a part of our school community. It's a great place of like-minded people. And don't forget to leave us a rating or review wherever you're listening. Those really help us out a lot. We just passed 100 reviews, and we're trying to get to 200 now. So if you could help us with that goal, that would be awesome. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.